Thanks for coming along on this artistic journey. We'll be doing 2-point linear perspective, and this will be in a 5-part series. So do all 5 parts and you'll understand 2-point perspective. This is part 3 of 2-point linear perspective. Thanks for being here. Welcome to part 3 of 2-point linear perspective. In this portion, I'm just going to teach you how to do a simple staircase in 2-point perspective. We're not going to deal with turns or twists or anything right now, but we're just going to deal with a simple staircase. And basically what you want to do is you start out, and we're going to put our eye level line way up at the top here. If you wanted to, you could use the 2 top corners. I'm going to come down just a little bit and say, this is my eye level line. You don't really need that eye level line, but you do need to understand that on either side are your vanishing points. Now, in real life, our vanishing points go out to the side of our peripheral vision, way out to either side. And so this is why in wide angle photography, when you're dealing with a 28mm lens and you're doing photography, and you cram all that information that we can normally see through our 50mm eyes, cram it down half into the 28mm, everything kind of starts to get distorted. And so as you're dealing with linear perspective, especially when you're drawing on a small piece of paper, your point of view, your cone of vision is going to be a little distorted. It is still very perspective correct, but because we've taken all that information and kind of shoved it into this little space, it's going to look a little distorted. And that just happens. Oftentimes artists will utilize those perspective points, those vanishing points, way out to the side, and they won't even include them in their artwork. They might even have it taped to a board or something and have those vanishing points delineated out to the side. But for our purposes, we're just going to keep those up on either corner. So if we turn and twist our paper a little bit, those vanishing points will still be constant. We're just going to start out, and you can choose to put this wherever you want to put it. I'm just going to put it over here and just say it's going to be that tall. That's as tall as I want it. How far out do you want to go? Well, that's kind of up to you. I'm just going to take my lines. I'm going to come out here a little bit and do something along that line. Those are going to be my top edges. And then I'm going to do another line connecting those two. So I'm creating sort of a box. I'm just kind of delineate where everything goes. Whenever we draw people or objects, anything, we have to kind of figure out where we want everything to go. We want to figure out where we want to put everything. And so I'm just going to draw this little box out here just to figure out where I want my staircase to go. And it's just, my little stairs are going to come up this way. I'll just put them right here. You can end it off there. So we just started out, little box. There's our leading edge. It's right there. And if we wanted to, we could delineate this over here. Remember, draw lightly. There's a lot of space, a lot of things that we're going to end up erasing. And if we did it right, this corner and that corner should line up pretty darn close. We're always off just a little bit because our vanishing points are, I mean, you got to go exactly to those vanishing points or you're going to be off just a little bit. And if your lines are crooked one way or another, they'll be off a little bit. But in any case, that's kind of where I want our little staircase to go. And I'm just going to build it up here. Now, what I'd like to do here is I just want to create some steps. And how wide do you want your steps? I'm just going to start from this back edge here, and I'm going to do equal measurements. We'll do 1/2 inch, so there's 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Because our steps, we want our steps to be all equal and level. This last one's going to have one of those trip steps on it. And then we want to figure out where our step's going to go here. So I'm going to come in through those little sections that I've got from our left vanishing point. I'm just going to draw lines out. So these are going to give us equal stairs that are all the same level. And you can use this when designing buildings, all sorts of things. There is lots that you can do with these. So I'm just going to get rid of some of these other lines because they're going to confuse me later on if I don't. And you didn't have to draw those other lines either. I mean, if you know what you're doing, you understand linear perspective, then there's a lot of things you think, I just don't have to draw that. Don't have to draw that edge. So let's say this is my first step, and I want to come in, and you kind of decide how far in you want to come. But I'm just going to come in, this far, and that's going to be my first step. And so then I just need to go straight up from this one. There's my first step. Sketchy lines. You go from there to your vanishing point, and it's got to match up with this one. So I can come in here and there, match those two together. There's one step, and the other one's got to match up with this one, and it's got to come up straight up. So if I come over here, then this line now has to come straight up. It's got to be vertical. Straight vertical, match up with that one. So there's my first step. Now I can come in here and I can do the same thing. And you kind of figure out how far in you want to come. You can have it match here, or you could have it a little bit wider or narrower, or whatever you want. There's my second step. So you've got this step, comes up, goes over. Now I need one to go straight up, and it's going to come straight up till it touches this other line right there. And this one is going to come up till it touches up to this one. So I'm going to come up here, and this one comes straight up. Meet right there. Now this one's going to come straight over. This one will come straight over. This one will go over here. And so you're just going back and forth until you figure all that out. Now we want another. This one's a little not quite as broad as some of these others, but that's okay. Now we're going to come straight up. So it matches up with this one. Then it's going to go over here. And it goes straight up. It matches up with this one. This will come straight over. And it'll come straight up. This comes straight over. So it meets up with this one. This will come straight over till it meets up with this one. Straight up. And you can continue to do this all the way up and down. This one was a real short kind of trip step. Maybe we want to come a little bit broader over here. Just come up to right there. And you can draw yourself little guidelines if you want, and just do this until they meet. And come straight up. And voila, look how that one met up with this one. And it looks like we did it fairly well. Now you're always going to be off a little bit, especially when you're dealing with linear perspective, because your ruler, maybe the width of your pencil even. I mean, there's lots of different things that you have to take into consideration when you're doing linear perspective. It's never going to be perfect, but you want to get it at least close enough that when your viewer looks at it, they're convinced that it is three-dimensional space, because it's all about the illusion, the illusion of space, the illusion of whatever it is. That's your basic staircase. Piece of cake. Thanks for joining me on this little journey. That's part 3 of 2-point linear perspective. And then we'll move on to part 4. I hope you have a nice day. And remember, art makes life better.